Hey you guys, so do you remember like last month I was like super excited about eclipse season because I'm like a Leo rising, Aquarian sun, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be my moment, right? And I was like, okay, big glow up energy. Well, I just posted my Substack article, so check it out. But yeah, it was not that. And so I was thinking this week's YouTube exclusive definitely needs to maybe teach something about eclipses. I maybe should have spent a little bit more time contemplating myself. I want to talk about what actually happened. I want to teach you something that I think a lot of people maybe don't know about eclipses or maybe kind of gloss over because they get super excited about some aspect of an eclipse, but I think it's going to change the way you look at this whole season. Just as a recap here, August 12th, we had a solar eclipse in Leo during a new moon, during a meteor shower. So this was all happening at the same time. So it's kind of like this whole sky was putting on a show, right? And astrologically, for me specifically, this was supposed to be a huge deal, right? And I think for a lot of you that work with me, anybody who has, it's sitting right on their rising sign, this was supposed to be a big deal. So, naturally, like all of you, I expected, I don't know, main character energy, right? Confidence, a glow up. But instead, let's talk about what actually happened. I had this weird health manifestation, this health issue manifest that I have been having to deal with. My relationships, especially my primary ones, oh my goodness. It was time to have a conversation for sure. My website, as many of you know, my actual income, how I pay my bills and eat, just stopped deciding to take payments. Like the link just broke for whatever reason. And like seriously, I had customers and clients trying to give me money for days, and the site was just like, oh no, thank you. Yeah. So obviously, I'm sitting here going, okay, wait a minute. This is supposed to be my eclipse. So why does it feel like the universe just put me through a car wash? Um, and so here's the thing that I think as astrologers, we need to be honest and talk about is that I really didn't fully clock this until the dust started to settle these last couple of days. And so I want to kind of explain in plain terms because I think this maybe trips people up during eclipse seasons. Um, every eclipse season, honestly. I think a lot of us, we hear eclipse in your sign and we assume this means like spotlight, right? A glow up, a red carpet moment. And that's not actually what an eclipse is that's on your rising sign is going to do. It's less spotlight turns on and more of like the costume falls off type energy. And I knew this. I don't know why I was avoiding the reality of it. I think that when we talk about eclipses, eclipses aren't asking you, are you ready to shine? I think they ask, is the structure underneath you actually solid? And if the answer is some of it, that's what's going to get tested during an eclipse season like this. Your body, your relationships, your business systems, whatever's a little bit wobbly, it kind of gets a pop quiz during eclipses. And that's why it can hit your health, your relationships, your money all at once, right? And that's can be a very frightening experience. And it's not random chaos either. It's a theme showing up in three different rooms of your life, honestly. And I think when we talk about eclipses, eclipses in general, the pattern really is they're not creating the problem, right? Because we like to blame things on astrology. It's just that they refuse to allow us to keep looking away from the problem, right? And so, is it humbling? Yes, it can be very humbling, but also it's useful, especially in hindsight. It's annoyingly useful, don't get me wrong. It's my least favorite kind of usefulness, but there's good energy there. So, here's what I want you to walk away with by the time I'm done with my spiel on this little video is that I think this little bit of knowledge and information will change how you experience every eclipse from here on out. And remember, we have another one coming very, very soon. I'm going to talk about that also. I think most people think like of an eclipse as a 1 day event, right? A 1 day activation. That something happens on that day and then it's over and we're on to the next thing. And that's just not how it works. An eclipse doesn't close out in 24 hours, right? It opens a door is what it does. It's a door opening event. The actual effects of an eclipse can keep unfolding because I'm looking at my chart right now on my other screen for up to 6 months afterwards, and so if something got triggered on eclipse day or, right before, right after, it's still going to be playing out 3, 4, 5 months from now. I can see that in my own chart. Look at yours. Um, this isn't a coincidence, right? It's not you being dramatic, right? It's literally how eclipses are supposed to work. You're watching the story kind of finish, right? You're not imagining a new one. So the second piece here, which ties right into that, is eclipses never show up alone, right? So they come in pairs. They're roughly about 2 weeks apart. A solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. So back to back in the same eclipse season. And the solar eclipse, which we just experienced, is that's that door opening. That's something starts or something kind of gets shaken loose. It's the moment where that happens. And then the lunar eclipse, that's 2 weeks later, it's coming up on the 28th for us. This is where the energy is like, okay, now you're going to feel like the full weight of it, right? It's that moment that you're feeling the weight of whatever was triggered. And so when people ask, is the eclipse over? The honest answer is it kind of never actually is. You're always somewhere in this bigger unfolding in life in general. So, I mean, knowing that, my chaos on the 12th wasn't a random bad day, right? It was a chapter one in a novel that is now going to reveal itself. And I think if we can reframe that and kind of that reframe alone is worth knowing before we get into what's next, this next part of our part two of the eclipse on the 28th. So, we're not done with this eclipse season. So when we look at the second half of this part two, you know, we've got this lunar eclipse. I'm looking at the chart here. It's August 27th into the 28th. It's over in Pisces. Using what you now know that what we're talking about, this is the now you feel it half of this eclipse. It's the solar eclipse cracked something open, and the lunar eclipse that's coming in is where you're actually going to sit with what got cracked open. And so this is Pisces energy, and Pisces energy is very emotional. It's very intuitive. It's a little bit watery, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if this one hits and it's kind of like, it's not like, okay, here's a clear decision. It's more like, here's a wave of feelings and emotions that you weren't expecting on a random Thursday, maybe, right? It could be grief, it could be relief, or maybe it's going to be both at once, and that's honestly very on brand for Pisces anyway. So, my honest advice here, I'm going to pull some cards for you guys too today. I don't normally do that, but I'm using spirit imprints because spirit imprints are beautiful for divination during eclipse season. Anyway, my honest advice, now that you know this is not a like one and done thing, don't try to force any big decisions. I got to keep reminding myself of that too. Do not force any big decisions in this window, and don't expect anything to be like fixed by September either. I'm looking at my chart right now, and shit is not fixed until probably December, January, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. You need to let it move through you, and it needs to stir what it needs to stir. Whatever got shaken loose on the 12th this last week, you're probably still going to be feeling ripples of it into the next year, and that's normal. It's not a sign that something's wrong. So, I think a lot of us were a little rattled by eclipse season. Even some of my fellow astrologers were like, holy shit, I didn't see that coming. And, if you need an actual read on what got activated, what exactly is going to be going on with you, I do have that Eclipse Reckoning package. So check it out. That's a personal impact report. And believe me, I should have ran that before I did my service, honestly. But, there is a casting that's key to your chart also. Obviously, we want to minimize some of the impact here and make it more manageable, more navigable. But you can check that out on the website. I'm not going to beat that horse to death here. But if you want more than just vibes going into this Pisces eclipse, I would definitely look at your eclipse impact reports. Look at your astrology, look at your natal blueprint, try to get an idea of what's coming. Awareness is preparedness. I'm always saying that we can plan ahead. There are things we can do to manipulate and transmute energy. We may not be able to remove it, but we can maybe minimize impact or make it more movable for us, make it more negotiable for us. So definitely look into your impact report astrologically with this eclipse season. I should have did that. And it's funny because I'm a professional, right? But I was like, I'm fine. And I should have done it. Anyways, so that's kind of like my very public, very chaotic eclipse season story. And I'm hoping also now that you've got at least one solid piece of astrology knowledge here in your back pocket. Eclipses aren't a day, they are a door. And if yours went sideways, kind of like mine did, that's okay. Tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to know that I'm not out here alone getting humbled by the sky. But the Pisces eclipse is coming. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. But let's pull some cards because during eclipse season, I do find that tarot, different forms of oracle and cartomancy can be a little bit wishy-washy energetically. So I usually like to stick to spirit imprint divination. So I made this spirit imprint deck back in 2019. I'm actually in the process of putting that together in a book and getting that published, hopefully, knock on wood, by Llewellyn. But I thought today, let's just pull some spirit imprints on what this Pisces lunar eclipse might spiritually activate imprint wise for you. Let's take a look. If you're watching this, let's check it out. Oh, healing physical energy. Boy, that's nice. Oh my gosh. This is what I hate about okay, here we go. I have to like hold it at a weird angle. Okay, you know what? What I'll do is I hate that I can't. Why does it do this? Why does it do this, you guys? I am not internet savvy at all. And I just want to show this card and it's whiting the card out because why? What do I got to do here? Okay. Look, you can just kind of see it if I like. All right. Anyways, the point is healing physical energy. That's great because I just had this little health snafu. And if Pisces is coming in with this lunar eclipse to heal it, I'll take it. If you guys are dealing with some weird health thing that could be getting healed up, I love that. What's the next one? A physical health issue. Holy shit, what is going on with health stuff? And look, once again, why can't I get this to you guys? I fucking hate and love the internet at the same time because like I don't know how to do this. Anyway, I'll have to take a picture and show it. But healing a physical health issue is beautiful. So I think this is definitely a clear message to anybody who's dealing with physical ailments right now, some weird one-offs that maybe got activated last week. I think this coming Pisces lunar eclipse is going to bring some healing to that. Maybe it occurred to get you to pay attention to something, change maybe a health habit or a routine, and that is going to be rectifying itself. And then past life healing, another healing card. Boy, this is irritating that I can't show you guys this. I will take a picture, but past life healing is beautiful too. So a lot of times when we're looking at imprints, when I see that past life healing imprint, I do think of seasons where, and again, this is South Node stuff. Our South Node is kind of resurfacing some old unfinished business that our soul contract is contracted to resolve in this lifetime. So there could be some healing going on. And, healing is a beautiful thing. It repairs and restores damaged energy, but it's very seldom is it comfortable because it's usually us facing something that, is hard in a relationship. in the way that we conduct business in, in our health routines. It could be confronting something that we know is shaky and acknowledging it fully and then resolving it. So it is healing, but healing takes work and healing can be hard. But I love this. I hope this Pisces eclipse definitely is bringing that physical healing, that past life healing. If there are physical health issues going on, that those are identified and can be reconciled quickly. So yeah, for Spirit imprints, we'll stay with those three. I just wanted to pull some cards for you guys today. And other than that, you guys stay magical and stay safe out there. This eclipse season is rough.